Just imagine what the last days will be like. The Bible tells us that the stars will fall from the sky, the moon will turn blood red, and the sun will become black. Then great earthquakes, war, famine, and plagues will occur and be accompanied with great signs in the heavens. Would you be surprised if you saw these events? There is a growing darkness in the world today, and no one should be surprised that we are indeed in the last days of man's time on this earth. It's commonly believed that we are getting closer to the end times as prophesied in the book of Revelation. Times where the world will see God's divine judgment upon man's evil and rejection of his salvation. The Apostle John was given a vision by God of what was to come at the end of the world. John sees a scroll with 7 seals on it. In Revelation chapter 6, Jesus opens the first seal. He says, "And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer." Revelation 6:2. The color of the horse being white is often a color associated with purity, victory, and peace, but the bow indicates forced compliance. Additionally, we see the rider is also wearing a crown which would indicate that this individual comes with authority or rule, and that they will eventually conquer the world. It's debated who the rider of this horse is, but it's likely that this is the Antichrist who deceives the world as a bringer of peace, but instead brings war and conquest. Note the presence of a bow, although a weapon of war. It's a weapon that wages war from a distance to conquer nations. We could speculate on this weapon. It could be economic control, a shared monetary system, or other that conquers nations and countries by exerting control from a distance. The second seal is opened. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, "Come and see." Another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword. Revelation 6 verses 3 and 4. The red horse symbolizes bloodshed as it causes conflict and death. Notice it does not say war, but rather people should kill one another. This may include war, but perhaps could also indicate a complete breakdown of civil order and civil unrest. A condition where citizens turn on one another, as apparently there is no form of law and order or law enforcement. Perhaps a complete breakdown of worldwide order, resulting in unrest, riots, revolution, and war. The word great sword indicates the degree of death is great and extends far and wide. The result is peace is removed from the whole world. When the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 and 6. The scale represents the center of economic exchange at the time, as it was used in the exchange of goods and services. In this context, we can expect that poverty and famine will grip the world in some sort of economic collapse. The prices of very basic food items, such as flour or wheat, will become unaffordable as small portions of basic food will cost an entire day's wages. The verse continues, "not to harm the oil or wine." Wine and oil were considered luxury items at the time. So the implication is that everyone except the ultra-wealthy will suffer hunger and starvation, while the rich will be unaffected. Perhaps a hyperinflation type event, where a day's wages pay for only enough food to survive, while the wealthy will be largely unaffected and able to pay exorbitant amounts for whatever they need. The fourth seal. I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Revelation 6 verse 8. The opening of the fourth seal brings forth the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. The pale horse is symbolic of pestilence, sickness, and plague. The death of a fourth of the earth's population would mean that approximately 2 billion people die, as a result of this judgment. When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer, until the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers and sisters, were killed, just as they had been. Revelation 6 verse 9. John sees all the souls of the martyrs, those servants of God who died at the hands of unbelievers for their faith. These martyrs are most likely those of the 144,000 of Revelation 7, those who are sealed by God and tasked with proclaiming the truth of Jesus Christ in the last days. The term Sovereign Lord refers to God's sovereign and complete control over everything, even in allowing the deaths of his followers. God, in his infinite grace, is even now allowing time for unbelievers to hear the words of his salvation by means of the 144,000 on earth. This is characteristic of God throughout the Bible. He gives not only progressively harsher judgments against man in an effort to turn him from his evil ways, but also provides prophets seeking to reach man with the truth. As through history, these prophets are martyred for their message, but a loving God who wishes that none should perish patiently waits for all the prophets to be killed before issuing his final judgments. The sixth seal. I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree casts its unripe figs, being shaken by a great wind. The sky was split apart like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Revelation 6 verses 11 through 13. We see an earthquake like none other, so powerful that it moves every single island and every mountain on earth. We see dramatic and what we would call seismic events on a scale never seen before. The sun is darkened, and it does not give its light. It's a time where the inhabitants of Earth see clear astronomical phenomena like they have never seen before. Stars, or most likely, blazing meteors, fall down to Earth. This is followed by the sky being split apart and rolled up. Clearly something only the creator of the universe, who controls the laws of physics and time, could accomplish. Ultimately, it's a judgment that causes awe, fright, and wonder, but clearly demonstrating, like to Pharaoh, the difference between the created and the creator. The vision continues. Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it?" Revelation 6, verse 15 through 17. In this we see that the world does indeed know who is bringing these apocalyptic events. They know it's God. They know it's judgment. Yet instead of falling on their face and seeking forgiveness, they hide and seek death. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour, and I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Revelation 8, verses 1 and 2. Before we see the next round of judgments in the form of the 7 trumpets, we have a moment of silence, both in heaven and on earth. It's a moment of silence before God's wrath is turned to man in the form of the 7 trumpets. This verse is likely to be taken literally, as God supernaturally enforces silence as a moment of reflection and highlighting the release of the next series of judgments. Friends, we will be covering the entirety of Revelation in future videos, so please subscribe and click the bell to be notified when they come out. And friends, don't be afraid of these things, as God is sovereign, and even the end times are under his control and supervision. Do not fear what may happen to you. Don't look to worldly things for security or protection. There is no such security that this world can offer that can protect from the day of judgment. No amount of wealth can save you from what is to come. Look to Christ for your security and peace, and you will find it.